Patrick's Garage. Hello, you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very interesting video on the spark plugs. Now, this topic was inspired by this article about spark plugs. It's filled with important information about spark plugs. That's just fascinating, and each picture is very different. There is some great data about spark plugs condition. Let's look, for example. Carbon deposits. Symptoms. Dry, salty deposits indicate a rich mixture, or weak ignition causes misfiring, hot starting, and hesitation. And of course, a recommendation. This article is about the relationship between spark plugs and engine inner condition. How we can judging about engine health if we looking at spark plugs. Allow the engine to cool completely. Pull only the spark plug cap at the end of the wire. Don't pull on the wire. Before we start unscrewing spark plugs, we need to prevent the possibility of debris falling into the cylinders. If you have a common tires pump, use it to blow any dirt away from the spark plug hole. Simple cotton rag can also be used. Place the spark plug socket over the plug and loose it by turning in a counterclockwise direction. And when spark plug loosened enough, we can continue unscrewing by fingers. Okay guys, what we can say about this spark plug from cylinder number 1? I think it is in good condition. Grayish tan color looks perfect. It seems to me the cylinder in good condition. Here we go, let's look spark plug number 2. To prevent damaging porcelain insulator, using only special socket for spark plugs. After loosening, we can continue unscrewing by fingers. And what we can see on the cylinder number 2. And as far as I'm concerned, this cylinder also in perfect condition. We can save ton of money looking into spark plugs. They good look from far away. Little brown light looks good, so cylinder number 2 also in perfect condition. Now we come to cylinder number 3. I wonder what's here. Unscrew the spark plug and see. Electrodes in good condition, side electrodes, central electrodes, and we also see brown color. That would be considered good condition, often condition. As I said earlier, I want to tell you again, diagnostic chat with data and photos can be found at spark plug seller. And now last spark plug we gonna see. To evaluate the engine condition, we really need to have all information about spark plugs. Obviously, to come up with right conclusion. I can't anything bad about this spark plug. It's no worse than others, and it is most important thing. The most important that all spark plugs look about the same. So, just to recap, just to quickly go over everything, there is no doubting this engine in good condition. so I wouldn't be doing extra work replacing spark plugs. And now I want to see how spark plug doing sparks. Never try doing that, it is very dangerous. I'm old and I don't care.
Crank it over. Okay.
Spark plugs in good condition. Don't try to repeat the electricity now for a dead blow. It is deadly dangerous. Never do that with electric ignition. It can be damage all system. I just need check gap between electrodes and don't throw money on stuff if it is runs okay. The gap on the spark plug electrodes is too large. The side electrode must exactly over the center electrode. The central electrode is not worn out, so it is enough to adjust the spark plugs. So let's check gap between electrodes. Now back then, approximately 2 years ago, I changed the spark plugs. And I'm more than sure that gap was smaller then. Yes, I need to reduce this gap. I like using hammer for this. And I just hit it to get smaller gap. Probably you got to fork out a special tool for adjusting spark plugs. It'll be better, I think. And after adjusting, we can perform the test again. Not smaller enough, and we continue again. Try to not bend the side electrode in the point where it is welded to the spark plug body. Now it's too small. We need to increase the gap a little. Use a special tool because if the side electrodes breaks off, it will damage the engine. And try to not bend the electrode in the place where it is welded to the body. And increase a little bit again the gap. Information about spark plug gap can be found in the vehicle owner instruction book. And check again spark plug gap just for peace of mind. And now, after adjusting spark plugs, we can install our spark plugs into the engine. And first tightening by fingers all spark plugs. And after that, I gonna tighten with socket with wrench. Never over tightening spark plugs. Yes, spark plugs must be tightened enough. When I tightening spark plugs, I'm using only one hand for tightening spark plug. Tightening? I can trust this data about tightening spark plugs. Push the spark plug cap back onto the end of the spark plug. Make sure that wire's in correct position. Wiring cord 1342. This is beautiful spark plug caps Bosch with 1 kilo ohm resistance. It should be a tight fit on the plug. Don't bend the wire excessively. Always remove and replace the wires one at a time to avoid mix-up in the firing cord. When buying the new spark plugs, be sure to obtain the correct type for your engine. This information can usually be found in the vehicle owner instruction book. In general, owner instruction recommends Bosch W175T35. The spark plugs should be removed after every 6,000 miles and the electrode gap measured. And only after 12,500 miles the sparking plug should be changed. And let's look hardly enough to instruction book. And we see Bosch W175T35 or corresponding. This means we can using spark plugs from another spare parts manufacturer. For example, Spark Plugs Champion also recommends for Volvo B20. I'm sure this Champion spark plug will last a long time, being made in England. Made in Germany, it means they made by Germans who cared about what they were doing. Not in other places, how in nowadays. Thank you so much for your time. Bye for now.